Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you today. The title of this paper is Use of Automation and Artificial Intelligence as a Subset of Knowledge Management Domain in Architectural Organizations in South Africa. My name is Francine van Tonder. I am a part-time lecturer at the Tshwane University of Technology, Department of Architecture and Industrial Design. I'm also a sessional lecturer at the University of Witwatersrand, Department of Architecture and Planning. The co-author to this paper is Prof. P.D. Rwelamila. My Prof. P.D. is a professor of project management and procurement systems at the University of South Africa Graduate School of Business Leadership. I have been privileged enough to have Prof. P.D. as my supervisor towards a Master of Business Leadership, and Prof. P.D. is currently the co-supervisor to my Doctor of Architecture. The study, let's start. The purpose of this paper is simply to publish research findings on the use of automation and artificial intelligence in architectural organizations in South Africa. Automation may drastically change the way humans work. And for the study, research data was collected by means of a qualitative research study consisting of 14 semi-structured interviews. The research findings indicate that automation and artificial intelligence may in the near future have an impact on the service provision that architectural organizations in South Africa provide, even if the use of automation and artificial intelligence is currently not commonly used within these organizations. How does this affect learning sites? Well, it may practically affect future curricula development in order to meet industry needs and changes pertaining to the fourth industrial revolution. Now, confusion may arise when I refer to architectural organizations. I refer to built environment architects and architectural organizations. Organizations that are supplied with employees from graduates from design higher learning institutions, specifically schools of architecture, planning, and interior design. Now, for this paper, it's important to understand a few terms. Knowledge management refers to the action of managing knowledge. Once knowledge management has support from an information technology system, it is referred to as a knowledge management system. The most common knowledge management system used by architectural organizations are computer-aided drafting software-enabled information building modeling. So CAD and BIM. What is a knowledge worker? A knowledge worker is a person whose job involves handling or using information. Most of us are knowledge workers. Now, architectural organizations, especially the projects that they deals with big data. And big data may be automated to inform artificial intelligence, possibly even eliminating, augmenting, or changing the work roles of some architectural organization knowledge worker employees in the process. Now, AI refers to the solving of complex problems by means of intelligence exhibited by an artificial entity, and automation and artificial intelligence, or AI, are two aspects that the fourth industrial revolution deals with. Now, the fourth industrial revolution is upon us, and the impact of the fourth industrial revolution and the impact that it will have on workers have already accelerated since 2016. This includes architecture and construction industry professionals, and that is what this paper or this research investigated. Now, how will this affect employees? Now, online globalized crowdsourcing of high-skilled but repetitive work processes, a rise in time-limited project-based contracts, expanded use of contractors for task-specialized work, and the use of remote staffing and decentralization of operations may be aspects of change. Now, the same sources, the World Economic Forum also states there is a need for information from the front lines of this change. Now, I've been lucky to be placed in a position to observe the dynamics of architectural organizations, and that is the data that is reported in this paper. Currently, there is limited to know research on the industry changes and emerging industry needs regarding automation and artificial intelligence for architecture organizations in South Africa. So a qualitative research approach was employed. The population and sample framework is taken from architectural organization employees, as well as industry leaders, as well as senior lecturers. From this population, a sample unit of 14 participants were selected. These 14 participants have more than 10 years experience, are usually middle management or upper management directors, owners of architectural organizations, as well as senior lecturers with at least a doctorate degree. This is the demographic of the participants. It's quite evenly spread, with directors and company owners taking the largest slice. And I was also mindful to include a woman or gender neutral person, at least within each category. Then the research instrument. It is noteworthy that the research presented in this paper originates from a larger business study that collected data on the topics of knowledge management, automation, and artificial intelligence in South African architectural organizations as project-based organizations. The data collected on artificial intelligence and automation was thought significant enough by the author to share in publication. So 11 questions were asked in total, and the 10th and 11th question were respectively, do you automate any of your service provision? And do you think it is possible to automate architecture and utilize artificial intelligence to provide the service or part of the service that architectural organizations currently provide? It was interesting to gather the research, because even though automation and artificial intelligence will affect all industries, including construction and architecture, AI and automation is currently not commonly used by architectural organizations in South Africa. And participants were asked if they or the architectural organizations that are involved with automate any of their service provision. A large portion, 36% of the study said yes, 14% of the study said no, and 50% of the study was unsure. It's interesting to note that a lot of the participants thought administrative work, Microsoft tools, is the automation of their work. One participant stated that to truly employ automation is too expensive, and that the work hours for that specific tasks or those specific tasks are still cheaper than the initial cost of automation, which means that the cost of automation is more expensive than architectural organization knowledge worker employees, who are notoriously paid less than other professions with the same level of qualifications. One participant did state that they extensively use CAD software enabled BIM to capture as much knowledge from previous projects as possible for use in future projects. They stated that they preferred producing or drawing a piece of information only once. When asked, I asked another participant, a senior lecturer, about training BIM more extensively in architectural schools, and they noted me on the fact that the onus is on the schools to provide an education to students, and the onus is on industry to provide training to recently graduated candidates. I asked the participants whether they thought it is possible to automate architecture. The majority said yes. However, it was unclear whether any architectural organizations made any real advancement in automating architecture. One large architectural organization from whom I used 4 participants did mention a research and development initiative which they've explored towards automating architecture, but it was unclear whether any critical success was reached or whether the research and development initiative was still active. Another interesting fact is that a participant, once again a lecturer, stated that a knowledge repository may be detrimental to the learning and discovery of students, as students are expected to design their own work. Therefore, during education, discovery is an important process deterred by having generic information. When I asked after artificial intelligence, participants were asked if they think it is possible to utilize AI to provide the service or part of the service that architectural organizations currently provide. Half and half, 43% of the study said yes, 43% of the study was unsure, and only 2% or not 2%, only 2 participants, 14% of the study stated no, definitely not. Now, it may seem that the reason no ground have been made towards automation and AI as an innovation is that such research and development is costly. Therefore, there may be an opportunity for schools of architecture, planning, and interior design to play a role in providing some of the necessary research and development. Now, may this cost jobs? Artificial intelligence may cost employment. And with 16 million people in South Africa unemployed at the time of the study in 2019, this may therefore be socially or morally irresponsible. So I asked the question. Participants were asked if they think the successful automation of architecture could cost architectural organization employees their employment. And this is very interesting because the vast majority said no, it won't. They stated that impact on job security may be minimal, which is an argument towards and for the use of automation. Now, it is therefore recommended by this paper that graduates from School of Architecture, Planning and Interior Design should be informed on the topics of knowledge management, automation, AI, and the fourth industrial revolution, above and beyond the information currently given to them. Even though automation and artificial intelligence is not yet commonly used by architectural organizations, within that lies an opportunity as well. We still have time to prepare. A quick summary of the research results. It is therefore, it's going to happen. Drastic changes associated with automation may affect the way architectural organization knowledge worker employees work, and may also affect their job descriptions to change and evolve to include emerging roles. Then due to automation, graduates may enter the workforce in different ways than what was previously the norm. As opposed to full-time centralized operations and salaried employment, graduates may be employed on time-limited project-based contracts that comprise of decentralized operations. Schools of Architecture, Planning and Interior Design may have the opportunity to provide post-exit level training to graduates to enhance technology literacy, problem-solving skills, and a broader general understanding of the work processes of architectural organizations. Furthermore, schools of architecture, planning, and interior design may have the opportunity to provide some of the research and development requirements for knowledge management systems, automation, and artificial intelligence to give advancements towards automating architecture. Now, we are currently in a pandemic, which is the result of the current global ecological breakdown we are facing, and all industry needs to change. So this automating architecture may possibly contribute to built environment solutions towards addressing the current global ecological breakdown we are currently facing. And that concludes this presentation. Thank you very much for your time. I'm looking forward to your questions.